Alrighty. Let's get into it. We're gonna get straight into it today. I'm your host with the most, Commander Judea.
And I'm Warrior St. John.
And we are
One Nation Israelite School.
All right, welcome to the Sabbath class. We're gonna get right into it. You know, today's class is entitled Section 8, Part 1. Section 8, Part 1. All right, so the way we're gonna start this class off, I want to play this first clip. All right. We're going to play this first clip. All right. Now, Section 8, Part 1, I'm going to show you a method. I'm going to show you a thing that happened to our people. And I'm going to show you that a lot of our people think that we act the way that we act. Our people act the way they act by choice. They think that the people just turn on. I'm going to show you, no, it was a process that happened to them. This clip we watching is about now the first clip is about eugenics. Now, anybody have a clue what eugenics means? Eugenics is basically saying good genes.
I was going to say something about DNA.
You know what I'm saying? Good genes. Next to good genes, you'll see genetics. After that, you'll see sociology, psychology. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna play this real quick. This dude here, I'm gonna show y'all about this dude. His name is B.F. Skinner. We're gonna ranch off of B.F. Skinner. Well, we're gonna ranch off the eugenics tree to B.F. Skinner, and I'm gonna show you how wicked B.F. Skinner was. All right, B.F. Skinner is going to show you. It's going to take you into why people are the way they are today. All right, so go ahead and press play.
At the turn of the 20th century, rapid industrialization and urbanization led to a social upheaval, defined by goals for a civilization free of violence, disease, and mental ailments. However, the means by which this utopian society would be attempted would include some of the most profound ethical violations in the history of the United States.
Now, y'all don't have to be able to see it. All I need y'all to do is be able to hear it.
Conservatives were behind it. Even the Catholic Church at one point was behind it.
Intense growth of American industry, agricultural mechanization, and widespread immigration led to the first major migration away from the farms and into the city, which was now expanding faster than adequate housing could be provided. The solution to the modern problems of an industrialized society required increased government involvement in the social sphere, a philosophy known as progressivism. The construct of scientific management offered a methodical means of social engineering. Geneticists of the age could prove, through the use of human pedigrees and their knowledge of plant and animal genetics, that degeneracy was an inheritable trait. It seemed only right that if a society free of all mental and physical ailments free of violence and crime, illiteracy and foolishness. It seemed only right to end the reproductive capabilities of people expressing these traits. Eugenics was the result of an America unwilling to make social changes.
Go back.
An upper class fearful of its laboring counterparts. Eugenics placed the blame of a social...
Go right there.
Traits.
All right. Pause it. Can we press play a little bit?
Eugenics was the result of an America...
All right. Damn, it's blurry. Press it again.
They say eugenics is the self-direction of human evolution.
Press play again.
Unwilling to make social changes.
All right, so right here it says sociology, sociology. Then it says genetics. Then it says psychology. It's gonna play a big piece in here. Press play. Let it play. Remember that.
An upper class fearful of its laboring counterparts. Eugenics placed the blame of a social quandary on individual races and classes, and thus freed from culpability the industrial, scientific, and political barons of the time. Cold Spring Harbor, New York, 1910. Charles B. Davenport, along with Harry H. Laughlin, both biologists and members of the American Breeders' Association, found the Eugenics Record Office with financial help from the Carnegie Institution. The ERO would be the headquarters of eugenic research in the United States for the next 34 years. Using various research methods, including human pedigrees, hereditary questionnaires, interviewing groups of special interest such as circus performers, and collecting census data, the ERO was able to justify the administration of eugenic laws nationwide, including immigration and marriage restrictions, race segregation, and forced sterilization of criminals and other undesirables. The ERO, however, was not only able to justify the eugenics atrocities, but integrated them into popular culture to make eugenics and related terms such as race hygiene household words. Popular literature published in the 1920s often donned eugenics in their subject matter, such as these manuals on raising a healthy family. Clergymen preached of the necessity for good marriages. Perhaps even more disturbing were the contests held at many state fairs, where awards were given to the fittest family, those with the purest pedigrees and undoubtedly the most attractive phenotypes would receive awards, such as this medal with an inscription reading, "Yea, I have a goodly heritage."
The eugenics movement spawned lots
Let's
of...
stop it. All right, load up clip number 2. All right, so now, in case y'all missing the point of why I played that video, what I'm showing you is these people, they will find out who had the best. Basically, they would shape the eugenics tree was psychologically when they found out who had the best pedigrees, they could manipulate them. They could manipulate. What would be the importance of knowing genetics? What would be the importance of seeing who had good genetics? And think about it. Take it into a racial thing.
To make the perfect race.
Yeah, but then what else?
Dominant separation.
All right. So now remember psychology. What is psychology?
That's a mental.
It's a
It's a study of the mind, but what is like when somebody say they use reverse psychology? What is they saying?
They get you to do what they want to.
Mind control.
That's what it is. Mind control.
Hold on, y'all. I need one at a time. All right, who want to crack at it?
Mind control.
Right. That's one way. What else?
I say they use what you know against you.
All right, they reverse, like psychology. Mind control and reverse psychology is something you could be right about, and I could flip it. It's a mind control. It's a way. Let's put it like this: if I use psychology against your mother, and then she takes that and teach that psychology to you,
right?
And then you teach that to your kids. Now, what have I done to your family?
Reverse the role.
I've manipulated them and altered the way that they would conduct themselves. Yeah. So now, let's go to B.F. Skinner. This is dude. I want y'all to pay attention to this devil. They're gonna explain him in 2 minutes. Let's get the very first one. I want y'all to pay attention to B.F. Skinner now. Pay attention. He was known as a master of controlling people's behavior.
Has contributed so much to the science and theory of behavior and to psychology.
Start it over. All right. Listen to this.
No other figure in the history of psychology has contributed so much to the science and theory of behavior and to psychology as a whole as B.F. Skinner. His systematic experimental research on operant learning in the early 1930s laid the foundation for.
So, notice first I said, nobody's contributed more to behavior than B.F. Skinner. Would operate control. So this man was known to be able to alter the way somebody behaved. Watch this. Press play.
For a natural science of behavior, which evolved into a unified discipline called behavior analysis. As of the early 21st century, it comprises 3 branches: an experimental branch called the experimental analysis of behavior, a conceptual branch called radical behaviorism, and an applied branch called applied behavior analysis. Skinner was almost single-handedly responsible for founding behavior analysis as a result of his innovative research methods and apparatus for studying the behavior of organisms as subject matter in its own right. He was also instrumental in promoting a conceptual and theoretical analysis of behavior through his writing on the philosophy of a science of behavior, interpretations of language, analysis of cultural practices, and discussions of the implications of a science of behavior for complex topics such as freedom and dignity. Moreover, Skinner's discovery of basic behavioral principles such as reinforcement, extinction, discrimination, as well as the shaping of behavior in the animal laboratory, led him to suggest their application to real-world problems such as education, the treatment of the developmentally disabled, clinical psychology, drug abuse, and the design of cultures. As a result, he is indirectly responsible for the successful application of behavioral principles to ameliorate a wide range of behavioral problems. His work, both experimental and conceptual, has been widely misunderstood and misrepresented. Nonetheless, no other psychologist.
It's a lot that went down in that 2 minutes. He was able to shape behavior and culture. You know what I'm saying? Then it's gonna get a little deeper. So he ran theories. Mm-hmm. He's the man. If y'all ever seen the thing with the rat in the box,
right? The
pigeon pecking the wall, all that type of stuff. That's his invention. That's his testing, his theory. And what you're gonna kind of find out is, let's just go to clip number 3.
Man, I heard about that word radical.
Go to operant conditioning. I'm showing y'all these clips. I know y'all probably like, what the hell it's got to do with it. It has everything to do with it. Watch. Operant conditioning. Go over. Keep going. All right, go back over. You're showing. Just go to, go to the operant conditioning at the top where it says Skinner. All right, go. Go ahead and hit that one. Let's see what it do. There it is.
Can pigeons read? This one gives every indication. because it's been taught to distinguish between two words and to behave appropriately.
Right. Do you see how when it says pick, he starts picking?
Yeah.
He's learned his different response to
Then
each
it's going to
sign
slip the
by
paper
being
again. So
rewarded
say
with
turn
food.
around.
So the bird isn't acting independently.
Time.
Its behavior is shaped by controlling its environment. The first task was to isolate an individual piece of behavior and see how that could be changed. Skinner did this by keeping individual pigeons at about 3/4 of their normal weight, so that the birds were always hungry, and food could be used as an automatic reward. The pigeon was studied in a uniform box, one it quickly grew used to. One piece of behavior, pecking a coloured disc, was measured on a graph. The pigeon learned that pecking the disc produced a reward. Then the behavior of pecking could be studied in relation to how often that reward was offered, or in Skinner's terms, what was the schedule of reinforcement.
The main thing is what we call schedules of reinforcement. Reinforcement is what Laban calls reward, and you can schedule it so that a reward occurs every now and then when a pigeon does something. We usually use a response with pigeon pecking a little disc.
All right, stop
in
it.
the wall.
So now he taught the pigeon based off of what he did. He starved the pigeon first, then he put the food there, and the only way it would dispense food is if it picked the disc at a certain time. When it showed up red, he picked it, he noticed the food would come. So through a theory of that, and he had a timer on it, so it would do these things at specific times. When it saw the red, peck it, food, peck it, food, peck it, food. That red disc go away, the food drop. See the red again, peck it, food. He basically manipulated it to work off his time. All right, so now go to the last clip. Now that's the one that he did with the bird. I want to get the very last one. The very last clip is going to be the heaviest ones, and then we can get right into it. I think it's experiment with rat.
Yeah.
You didn't space it.
I did.
I see the BF experiment.
Say with rats.
Yeah,
With rats.
I think that's it right there.
That's right.
410. Next to it, right there. There it is. Watch it.
Entry inherited the mantle of the father figure.
Watch this. Listen to this, y'all.
Skinner in the mid-20th century inherited the mantle of the father figure of behavioralism from Watson. He believed that we can both predict and thus control behavior. Thus, by manipulating.
Remember, he's sitting there telling you, he figured we could both predict and control behaviors. Remember, everything that's going on, the white man has planned it. He could predict and control behaviors. Watch this. Thus, by manipulating the environment. Come on.
The environment, we can change the individual. And he firmly believed that by manipulating the environment in the right way, in a thoughtful manner, we can change individuals for the better. Inspired by the work of Thorndike and his law and effect, he devised the learning theory, operant conditioning, which can be defined as a learning process in which the consequences which follow a response determine the likelihood that the behavior will be repeated in the future.
Yeah.
So behavior is strengthened when it's been reinforced, therefore more likely to recur, and behavior is weakened when it's been punished, less likely to occur. So Skinner devised the Skinner box to identify how the consequences of actions affected future behavior. So in terms of some of the key aspects, the Skinner box contained a lever that was used for both positive and negative reinforcement. The positive reinforcement in the form of food was delivered through a food dispenser after lever pressing. There was an electric grid on the floor that would deliver painful electric current. There was a light that when flashed was a warning signal to the rat that the electric current was about to come. So in order to provide motivation for behaviour, Skinner used hungry rats that were placed in his Skinner box. And much like the cats in Thorndike's puzzle box, initially their behaviour was random until they inadvertently hit the lever, which resulted in the immediate rewarding of a food pellet. Now, it didn't take the rats long to learn that lever pressing resulted in the positive outcome of receiving a food reinforcer. So therefore, the consequence of receiving food, which was the desirable stimulus, ensured that the lever pressing behaviour would be repeated again. This is positive reinforcement. Now, initially, Skinner used a continuous reinforcement schedule, which results in the fastest rate of acquisition, i.e., every time the rat hit the lever, a food pellet would be delivered. Then later on, he went to a partial schedule, and I'll go through this in a future YouTube clip. And as stated earlier, the Skinner box was also used for negative reinforcement. So the rat was subjected to an aversive stimulus, an unpleasant electric current, and again, the random act of lever pressing switched off the electric current. So the consequence of escaping the electric current, the aversive stimulus, ensured that the behaviour would be repeated, i.e. lever pressing.
All right, stop it. So what he did was he made a box. He had one where if he pressed the lever, he would get, the hungry rat would get a pellet of food. If he did, so he had a reward if the rat did what he wanted to do. And if he didn't do what he wanted to do, it was an electric volt that would shock his ass. So by that, he said we controlled the rat's actions. The rat knew to do this again for the good action. And he did anything outside of that, a shock comes through. All right. And by that, he said we could shape. So he took his theories. They said, oh, he should never use this on people. But you're going to find out, oh, they did do this to people. And that people they did it against is us. So y'all get the point, right? Yeah. All right, let's get into it. All right, then. Get your ass up.
What that lady said when that boy got hit across.
All righty then. So now, B.F. Skinner. Now, what we just watched is this dude basically showed you he knew how to manipulate and shape the way that people would act and think after his theories. Mm-hmm. Now, first and foremost, what we got to realize is he manipulated the actions of people. They took that theory that he did on animals, like how you think they got tigers that jump through hoops of fire, right? Through the same theory. How they got elephants to stand on other elephants' back, through that same theory. So how did they get us to get to the mind state and the state that we are today? That same theory. I put you in an area, I load it up with drugs, I give it to you, I get one person hooked on it, give the other person it and tell him to sell it. The reinforcement was if you don't sell it, the lights go off, you hungry.
Right.
The positive of it is you sell it, you get money, you feed your family, he gets high.
Right.
Same theory, just a different tool. So now, B.F. Skinner, what did he do? What he did was manipulate and use witchcraft. That's witchcraft. What does the Bible say about a witch?
Should we put it up?
Exodus 22:16. So B.F. Skinner and the white race as a whole are a bunch of witches.
22 and 16.
Yes.
Exodus chapter 22 and verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed.
Hold on. Is it 16 or 18?
Oh, yeah. 18.
Salakia.
Exodus chapter 22 and verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
When it says suffer, it means permit. Thou shalt not permit or allow a witch to live. So the white race is supposed to be wiped off the face of the earth because them are a bunch of witches practicing witchcraft. The system is witchcraft.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna show y'all something. Watch this. It says, so when the rat did whatever they wanted it to do, it would be rewarded with food. But if it did what they didn't want it to do, it would be shocked. Now, he did this project on all types of animals. Then they brought that same theory upon us. They brought that same theory upon us, right? So, and how go to school, get a better paying servant job, because school is not designed for you to be a CEO.
No.
School ain't designed for you to learn how to run your own business. School I'm gonna tell you, school was designed for two things: to teach you to be a better servant or inmate. Now I'm gonna tell you, when you go to, how long is a school shift?
8 hours.
8 hours?
Yeah.
Right. How long is the lunch break?
30 minutes.
When you go to a job, most of the time, the normal job is supposed to be how long of a shift?
30 minutes. 8 hours.
8 hours. And how much is the lunch?
30 minutes.
It's the reason why they teach you that way. They molding you to be good servants, not to own businesses. All right. So you go to school, get an education, you get a better paying serving job.
Forget it though.
then it says, so now here's the other thing. Now, when you go to Section 8, housing, stuff like that, the thing is, they tell you, come get government assistance, aka Section 8 housing, food stamps, and we will take care of you. The only catch is you got to do what? Get rid of the man. The man can't stay there. You got to get rid of the man. So now, here it is. Here's the Skinner theory now. If you get rid of the man, as long as you stay rid of the man, we'll keep you in housing, we'll keep you with food stamps, you'll keep government assistance. But the moment you get a man, which is what we don't want you to do, we're kicking your ass out. You lose your housing, you lose your food stamps and government assistance. That's the Skinner box theory. Watch this. So now the Skinner box is the government's word, and the method is the Willie Lynch law. They both go hand in hand. They work together. The Willie Lynch letter, the Willie Lynch law, and the Skinner box theory are the makings of us today, of our people. Now, let me prove that to you. Let me show. It's like this. If I give you a box, if I give you, if it's 7, let's say it's 7 options in life, right? Mm-hmm. And I put you in a box and only give you option to 3 of them. Now, these 3 are all you know. When you go out and do your thing, did you really choose the option you wanted?
No.
No, you just made a choice out of the ones they gave you.
All right.
So if I put you in the box, there's 7 options, but I only give you options to 3 of them. You didn't really make a decision. You didn't really choose. You made a decision based off of what was offered to you, which is the same thing they do to us today. Our people think that they wanted to do what they wanted to do. They think they wanted to do what they did. No, you honestly only chose out of what was presented to you. I altered your thinking. I psychologically made you feel like you chose that route in life when really that's the route I gave you. All right, so watch this. Micah 2:1. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Micah. Micah's right after Amos.
Micah chapter 2.
I mean Jonah, I'm sorry. But we want to Micah 2. I was just saying. You got Amos, Jonah, Micah.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 1.
Really a minor prophet. That book small.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their bed.
That dude, B.F. Skinner, the so-called white race, the government, they work evil upon their bed. That's in the thinking tank. That's what it's talking about. In their thinking room, them conference room, come to the long table.
Right.
Upon their beds. I mean, all night type of council.
Right.
They thought about the outplay of this for years to come.
They lose sleep over it.
Right. Come on.
When the morning is light, they practice it.
When the morning is light, they practice that evil. That white man, he the thinking process on his bed was the experiments that he was doing with the animals. Then they bought that theory once they proved it to work, and then they brought it and they practiced it on us. They actually practiced it on the animals, but they put it to work and use on us.
This is animals.
Right. Watch this. Read on.
Because it is in the power of their hands.
Watch this. Read on.
And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house.
So they oppress a man in his house. Now, normally we deal with all the top part about how Esau coveted lands, went here, slaughtered the Indians, take the Americas from them, all that. We normally focus on that. But today we're going to focus on the part where it say, and oppress a man in his house. They oppress a man in his house, a.k.a. the projects. Now, the word projects to let you know what that was to begin with. A project.
Yeah, attached line.
That's why they call it the projects. And the reason they call it the projects, because the project was rats. I'm going to tell you what they did. As a fact, let me get a scripture first. Go to Isaiah 5 and 8 and tell me, does this sound like the projects to you? Isaiah chapter 5, verse 8.
Isaiah. Wait for people to get there. All right. Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house.
Woe unto them that join house to house. So the Bible's telling you houses are not supposed to be smushed up together.
That's crazy.
In the projects, what do? They put you, apartments are woe unto them. They put these projects together and they separate the homes by a thin wall. Lord have mercy. The couple go to having sex, you hear all type of moaning and groaning.
That's why you come see them next month like, store last night.
You know what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Your son in the room trying to sleep, he undercover keying. But on the real, the Bible says, woe unto them that put house together, house to house, and meshed it all together. Like when you go down the neighborhood, how they got all them houses right next to each other like that. No, dudes ain't even got a side of a house. Yeah. They ain't really got no yard.
Right.
We supposed to have land.
Right.
And then they tell you it's because they run out of space. Yeah. Watch this. Isaiah 5 and 8 from top.
Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place.
Till there be no place. Meaning there's no space. They got everything jam-packed together. That's not the way they're supposed to go according to the Bible. Until there be no place. Come on.
That they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth.
But they may be placed alone to the midst of the earth. Why does it say that? Because they build these projects, mesh everybody up close together, and then they move out and go to the suburbs and the country. So they house sitting on land. They houses are individualized, but us, we meshed all together. Now, they call that the projects. And where the houses are all compact together, the units are smushed together. The reason they call it a project is because it is a project. I'm gonna tell you how they tested this project. They took a bunch of rats and they put them in a big aquarium, and it was peace. Then they started to confine the space. And you know what happened as the space got tighter and tighter? The rats started gnawing on each other, biting each other, fighting each other, killing each other. And they said, well, now let me take the blacks and Hispanics and mesh them up all in the area together. And you know what happened?
Same thing.
At first, we was able to get along because we all had our space. But now, they meshed us all up together, and conflict started rising. Fighting, shooting, killing, murdering. That was all part of a behavioral thing that they already knew they was going to do. Why? Because they tested the theory.
Mm-hmm.
So we started killing each other. Then what you got to understand is the projects and the things that led, because we ain't got into the Willie Lynch letter, but you're gonna see Willie Lynch had a thing to destroy the black man and the black woman as a unit together. This here, it started like after the Willie Lynch syndrome, and they pushed us into the ghettos. There was still structure there though. Why? Remember, this was set to destroy the Israelite household. Why do you think it was still structured there when they mushed us into the projects? The men were still in the house. The men were still in the house. So the structure was still there because the men was in the house. So now they fill up the projects, mesh us all together. Violence is arising, but a lot of households are still in order. Why? Because a lot of men are still in the house. So now what do we have to do?
Remove the man. We
got to find a way to get the man out. But I'm glad you said that, because you're absolutely right. Got to give him a low-paying job. You got to give him a job that barely make the bills meet, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can offer you something better. But first, let me show you the Willie Lynch letter. Let's go to the Willie Lynch real quick. Now, this class here, I'm gonna tell you straight up, it ain't that many scriptures to it. Probably like 4 or 5 scriptures. I just want to put part 1 out there because then I can come and drop the rundown. Okay. This here's to give you the vision of the theory. This class ain't gonna be long at all. So we're going to Willie Lynch letter. Now, the Willie Lynch letter had full effect on the removal of the man and the hatred of the black woman towards the black man. This was the method to move the woman to dependency of the white man and independency towards the black man. So, right, we're gonna go to and then the Skinner was the psychological manipulation to the whole action.
Mm-hmm. He just added himself into.
Right. So now start at page 15. Give me the highlighted part.
Page 15.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process. Oh yeah, it's an ER. Take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggas, the female and the nigger infant. Tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite direction. Set him afire and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining niggas.
So the theory was take the biggest, strongest black male out there, tie one of his legs to one horse facing this way, tie his other leg to a horse facing this way, set him on fire, and then slap both of the horses on the ass so they could take off running and rip them apart. All right, go to the next highlighted piece.
The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him.
Right. So the reason why you think he say beat the remaining nigger in front of the black woman and his children?
Try to make him look like fear. Yeah.
What you got to think about it? You got this the strongest dude you know, the baddest man you know, and you just watch them.
Why fear in the eyes of the people,
to everybody, and mainly. Right, and mainly to the woman. Why? Because if he can't defend himself,
he can't defend them.
He certainly can't defend you.
Mm-hmm.
And also for those other males who may have some dominance in them who want to defend their women and stuff, it'll strike fear in you to not even. You just seen this dude get beat with a whip damn near to death.
You don't want to defend yourself.
It's gonna break your spirit. All right, read on.
The next page.
Yeah.
All right. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly.
Right. So now after she done seen all of this stuff that you done did to the men, now it's time to run the test on the woman. Sounds like a Skinner box, right? We're gonna run some theories and then run a test.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, now let's run the final test on the woman. Let's see if she will submit to you fully. your desires willingly with no resistance. Watch this. Read on.
If she shows any signs of resistance and submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bull whip on her to extract that last bit of bitch out of her.
Hold on. So y'all women who think the white man is your friend, the term calling you a bitch came from, read that line again.
Do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of bitch out of her.
So he said, after you done did everything to the man, when you run a series on her, if she have any slight look of resistance, take the bullwhip and whip the last little bit of bitch out of her.
Just because she had some resistance, she became the B word.
Yeah, you say whip the last little bit of bitch out of her. Come on.
Take care not to kill her.
But don't kill her.
For in doing so, you spoil good economics.
You're going to spoil good economics. Why? It's going to tell you why he say that. Now, of course, you know, in slavery, he was saying she produced children and stuff. But it's another reason why. Watch this. Go to the next page. Let's read this whole page.
Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationships. In her natural uncivilized state, she will have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male.
Right. So he said, now listen, in her natural state, the black woman, the Hispanic woman, they would naturally depend on their man. They would depend on their man with a heavy degree. Mm-hmm. They would heavily depend on her man. But watch this.
And she would have a limited protective dependency toward her independent male offspring and would raise female offspring to be dependent like her.
And in her natural state, she would raise her children to depend on the man. That independent woman stuff is of the devil. I'm telling you that now. That be independent. Oh, get your own. You don't need a nigga for nothing. That is the wickedest shit in the world for you women. It was not supposed to be so.
They took us from being civilized and started calling us uncivilized.
Right. So he says in her natural state, she would be dependent on her man, and she will raise her children to depend on their man. You want to know why that's heavy? I'm gonna tell y'all that. Let me tell y'all something real quick, just a side note. Because if you raised your children to be dependent on their man, you wouldn't have to worry about your daughter dating a sorry Negro who won't work. Mm-hmm. But because you raise them to be independent, to have that mind state, they don't need their man for nothing. That's why you see a lot of women taking care of the man now. Watch it. Come on.
Nature had provided for this type of balance.
So he's telling you what the nature has provided for the woman to depend on her man. She's supposed to be able to depend on you to be the man. But in this theory, it was to stop that. No, don't depend on him no more, because we need you to depend on us. Come on.
We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigga apart and bull whipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected.
So now she's alone and unprotected. Watch this.
Unprotected with the male image destroyed. The ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong.
Now you see why the men are the way they are today. When they broke that behavior, they broke the natural role. The woman raised her men children like girls. She raised them to be mentally weak, but physically strong, out of order. But then how would she raise the women?
Like they're supposed to be men. Being independent. Let them do what they want to.
All right, watch this. Read on.
Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent as well. What have you got?
Right. So now what we think is natural is really off. what we think is natural is off. She would raise the men to be mentally weak and dependent, but raise the girl to be independent. You know what I'm saying? So now what we think is normal is it ain't normal. Your parents raised you to, you say yes, sir, to the white man. Right. You look him in his face. Don't be going out there. Don't do nothing. Go out there and get yourself killed. And like you notice how women are way more protective over the boys than the damn girls. Right. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And he says he raised her kids to be independent. How the hell I've seen households where the boys have a damn curfew and the women hang out.
Yeah, right.
You wanna know why? Because the household, the woman, you dealing with this woman here that was broken. She raised her kids. You being home because the boy get in trouble, but the girl go out. The girl just, I guess, she ain't got no danger. She can't get snatched up or something.
Right.
But the men got to be home at a certain time. Boy can't have no girlfriends come over, but the girl got boyfriends coming over.
Right. Boyfriends. Right.
Now I'm saying, now both of them wicked. We're not supposed to have girlfriend and boyfriend, but I'm saying, how the hell do the girl get to bring a dude over and the man can't?
Right.
I don't get it. Watch this. Read on. But that's because we read about the woman when she was broken. She was broken into raising her children in reverse roles.
What have you got? You got the nigga woman out front and the nigga man behind and scared.
There it is. So now, due to the men seeing what happened to the dominant male, now the man stands behind the woman scared. And the woman standing out in the front. Reverse the hell out of them roles. Now, watch this. Read on. We're going to finish that.
This is
Hold on. We finished it with the first page?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I needed. Oh. So now watch this. Now that was heavy though. That was heavy. So now. Let's do it like this. So then the Skinner effect comes in full throttle because with her dependency already being broken for the black man, he says, okay, well, you can starve, you can be homeless, or you can die being with the black man. Just be with you could be with him and starve and hunger and die. Now her dependency is already broken for him. Mm-hmm. So now he's saying, okay, well, you could be with him, or you could sign here and I give you a house, I give you food stamps and government assistance. Now her dependency is already broke for the black man. What the hell you think she gonna choose?
Signing on that paper.
She gonna sign that paper, aka Section 8 housing. So now he did all that to get you to a point where what he can do, what lend to thee. That will fit when he got you lending, when he lending unto you, the action, the Skinner box comes in because the reward is keep the black man. As long as the black man at the house, I got this and that, this and that, and this and that. Now, with the black man, it will make you think that the black man is no longer useless. I mean, useful to you. They make him useless. So you would think. You know what I'm saying? If I got to be with, if you give a woman the power where you say you can have your own house, your own food stamps, and whatever other government assistance, or be with him and he do, I don't need him shit. That government do this for me. Mm-hmm. Section 8, government assistance, all of that is Deuteronomy 28:43. All day long. Yeah. Watch this. Go ahead and get it, bro. Deuteronomy 28:43. Watch this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
The cracker that was amongst us will get up above us very high.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And we will be low.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail.
Right. So when it says he shall lend to thee, that's what Section 8 is. That's what housing is. That's what food stamps is. I'm saying that's him lending to us. I'm saying these things are given to you. I'm gonna lend it to you as long as you need it. But the moment you go out against what I said, I'm snatching it back from you. When you lend somebody something, that means what?
You like borrowing.
You borrow it. Lending it means I can do what?
Take it back.
Take it back.
Right.
In other words, Section 8, can they take that back from you?
Yeah.
Food stamps, can they take that back from you?
Yeah.
So when it says a stranger that is with thee shall get above thee, he's telling you that. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
He's saying that he lending to you as long as you I'm saying it to you like this because I want you to catch the Skinner box theory that's wrapped in with the Willie Lynch breaking of the mail. He's telling you that if as long as you do what I say, don't move the black man in the house, I will lend to you. The moment you decide you want a man and I catch him here, ass out.
I remember they used to send. They don't do it no more, but they used to send out the Edomite woman.
They still do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, to check the household to see if there's a man there, men clothes,
men shoes, yeah,
anything. Shaver. Well, we ain't supposed to shave them, but back then they did. They shave their beards and all that.
Right. Also, what a lot of people don't know is Section 8 and welfare is designed to keep you poor. That's also a part of keeping you in the box. Why? Because when you get there, they tell you can't work what?
I was saying you can't work
a certain amount of hours.
Yeah, you can't work past a certain amount of hours.
You basically
you can't make too much.
So you get lazy.
Right.
Also, what they do is they say, well, if you don't work, you need to work community service hours, a certain amount of money.
What?
Yeah. The reason why you think they tell you need to work community service hours?
What they say?
It's free labor, but what else? Think about one of the main things is to keep you broke.
Damn, that is.
Work community service.
No money.
Work for free.
If you got to work a certain amount of hours every month, do you have time to go try to better yourself?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what the hours is about. As long as I give you these hours to work this week, you ain't gonna have no time to go look for a job. You ain't gonna have no time to try to do better. No, we're gonna keep you in this box.
Even a job, they take you out of the mind state. That's why they give you a job, because they take you out of the mind state of doing what? Becoming an entrepreneur, becoming something like a businessman. Right.
And it says so the agenda was to make women hate the men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To have that fear that he can't protect me. You know what? He only make this amount of money. I could do bad by my mother myself. I don't need you. I go to the white man and he'll give me a house, food stamps, government system.
You know, I can't tell you who it was, but I really did heard somebody say something.
Yeah.
I really heard somebody say something like that.
So it raises what? Hatred towards the man.
Right.
That's Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy 28:56.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you.
Right, because when she was dependent on you, she was sweet, loving, and delicate. That's how royal the Israelite woman was before too.
Right.
Her foot wouldn't even touch her naked foot wouldn't even touch the floor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They ain't like that,
she had to have them nice gold slippers on or whatever.
Right.
Now, when it says that the woman among you that is, think about it, the delicate woman, when she was the woman was dependent on you, she treated you different.
Right.
How many of y'all ever dated a woman and you notice as long as you had that good job or as long as it was she needed you, she treated you like royalty. But the moment she got good,
you ain't shit.
You ain't it. Bad talk. Nigga, fix your own sandwich. all type of stuff. The moment they got good, they get your ass kissed.
That's a Judge Joe Land all day.
Right. That's the you gotta think about it. That's the mind state that a woman would have when she don't have no dependency on you. You didn't mean shit anymore. All right. So now watch this. Yeah. Let me get two of them, G-Dog. Now, watch this. Isaiah. I said Isaiah. Deuteronomy 28:56.
Deuteronomy?
Yeah.
What's up with that guy?
All right. Let's finish out. Deuteronomy 28:56.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son and toward her daughter.
Right. So now, the tender and delicate woman amongst you, her eye would be evil towards her own husband and towards her children. That's why you see some mothers, and when you go to the project,
they hate their kids.
Women in projects. I'm gonna use that since you said it.
That's true.
They will go and buy some bologna and a pack of bread.
That's right.
They would buy some bologna and a pack of bread for their kids to eat, just to save that enough money to go get their nails done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when it says she hate her husband, that's the point. That's the reason we want it. That's what we wanted. She would hate. She would be. Her eye would be evil towards her husband. F you, nigga. You ain't shit. I don't need nan, nigga. Nah, all that. That comes from the theory. That comes from the breaking of the man.
I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work and do me and get on my feet. It don't depend on no other nigga.
I'm gonna do me. All of that. You know what I'm saying, that all of that goes into the independent that independent mind state, that the breaking process. All right. So now you become but so now watch this. Now I will be evil toward her husband. All of that because what? Her dependency has been broken.
Mm-hmm.
Now today they do it in what? Put it in the music. Be independent. Do you know something like that? Like, but
don't need no be independent.
right. But right.
I was just thinking.
So it all starts from the breaking process, and now the Skinner box said these things would affect behaviors for generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So they start out with the mother, then the mother taught that to the daughter taught that to her daughter, and it kept going. And then you'll get a kink in the road where they try to get it right, but then government assistance comes. Get them out the house. I got you. Be independent. You don't need that, nigga. I pay your bills. All right. So now you move the black man at the house because you see you would make the black man feel useless. And one thing about us men, if our job is to protect and you feel like I can't protect you, our job is to provide, and now you got somebody else providing for you. You feel like you don't need me. Wherever a man feels useless, he will leave.
Right.
If you don't allow us to be men, we will leave. If you make us feel like our worth is nothing, we will leave.
Right.
And that's when you read 54 real quick. And now that his eye can be turned hateful.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Verse 54.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom.
Now, think about Section 8. What it does for the woman.
Make her think she don't need nigga.
So why would the eye of the husband be evil towards the wife then?
Be evil towards the white man?
Towards the wife.
You feel like you don't need me.
Because I'd be like, you trying to replace me with something else.
You replace. You don't need me for something free, basically.
No.
Or talking about he ain't good enough.
Because if a woman getting everything that you're supposed to provide, how's she gonna talk to you?
Any kind of way.
Like she above you.
You get out my shit. I don't need you. It emboldens you to treat the man like nothing. So as I turn evil towards you, you know what? F you. I'm gone. And you know what else he do? Leave his kids too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And how does the eye become evil? Because you teach your kids that your daddy don't like you.
Right. Right, same
I was telling him that same lie. He walked out on me.
Yeah, that.
He cheated. He a
Yeah.
low life.
Now, but that you want to know why those statements come out later? Because remember, I said it would make the woman believe that the man is useless.
Right.
At least it seemed, or you thought that. By the time you realize, no, I still needed the man, it's too late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you push the man out because you get in the house, you get in the food, you get in the government assistance. What you forgot is the structure is gone though.
Mm-hmm. Kids gonna grow up acting all different type of way.
Right, because the Bible tells us what, and you know, a lot of women forget women got those needs.
Right.
Like back in the day when they put them women on Section 8 and stuff like that, and I know I told y'all wasn't gonna be a lot of scriptures. It's more of an explaining thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you put a lot of those women in Section 8 and housing and stuff like that, or in them projects, the co-worker, the people who had the little union jobs and stuff, they the ones who was getting that kitty at night.
That's true.
They come through, the man delivering the mail, they get all the cooler. You know what I'm saying? And or the nigga who the Skinner process, get him the drugs, these people over here hooked on it, you sell it, you got money. Now on some of these things, they give the women checks, but that ain't shit but the rent.
Right.
So now what the kids gotta eat.
Right.
So now mama got to deal with the drug dealer to get the food.
Right.
Or she started turning tricks.
Yeah, right. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of them women that was on Section 8 back in the day, that's why on certain movies, when you see them women was on Section 8, they used to have a white man in the room one morning, a black man, because they used to have to turn tricks to keep some type of income because the checks only covered the rent. So now what happens? You see this sister, and she went to the projects with only 1 or 2 kids. Next thing you know, now she pregnant again. Then she pregnant again. Then she pregnant again. Why? Because she dealing with the men to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? You get a check. Social workers never see that. Well, they see it, but you want to know why they don't kick you out when you get pregnant again? Because that's a part of the process.
Right.
Because if I didn't want you with a man, why would you still be here when you pregnant? Who you got pregnant by?
Right.
Sperm donor.
So that's literally what happened in Section 8. The mailman, the social worker they sent out.
It always be an Edomite, man.
In the knocking boots. They get all the vagina. So now, but the thing is, them niggas ain't gonna stick around and take care of your ghetto ass. They don't put you in this damn projects and you don't pick up the ways of the projects. Right. He looking at you, he got a wife at home, he just knocking you off because it's good.
Right.
So now you getting pregnant, and when the moment you say you pregnant,
he put on them track running shoes then.
So now no man in the house. Now the Bible refers to now we know that women and men are supposed to discipline the children.
Right.
But who does the Most High place at the forefront of that?
The women.
I can't believe y'all just said that.
Who
does the Most High put in the forefront of disciplining the children?
The man.
The man. You know what I'm saying? So now, when the man's supposed to discipline the child, if he's not there, what happens?
The woman start disciplining, she start raising him, and the child gonna pick up their ways.
Right. But in a lot of cases in the projects, do them mothers discipline their children? Absolutely not. They become ostriches. They become as ostriches. They don't raise their children. They too busy having fun. They too busy knocking boots. They too busy hair, nails.
We good? Oh no.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12.
All right,
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I think it stopped.
There's a little blank there.
It's looking like it's coming back on. Isaiah 3 and 12. I ain't got time for that.
Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
Right. So it says that the women are the oppressors.
No, the children.
I'm sorry, the children are the oppressors because the children become wild damn hooligans.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, it's back on.
It's back on. That's why I said all right.
Read Isaiah 3 and 12 again.
Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors.
Right, because in the projects, the children, the ones hanging out on this corner, the teenagers, they are the oppressors. They the wild hooligans. They the ones that's terrorizing the neighborhood and the community.
And women rule over them.
And the women rule over them. The women that rule over the weak man that's scared and that's behind them, or they just ruling over the children because there is no man in the house. Watch this.
Oh, my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
They that lead thee cause thee to err is the woman who's in the man's role, who's the head of the house. She leading the nation and leading the children, and they are causing them to err, meaning they causing them to go out. And destroy.
Oh, and destroy the way of thy path.
And destroy the way of thy path. Let me show you something. You want to know, are we the Israelites? Watch this. This will happen to the women in the projects. This will happen to most of the men now. Go to Isaiah 51, verse 20. Now, remember it said that the children are the oppressors, right?
Yeah.
Watch this. Let me know if this makes sense to y'all. Isaiah 51, verse 20.
Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in the net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of the God, of thy God.
Right. So read it real quick one more time. I'm gonna break it down as we go on.
Thy sons have fainted.
Thy sons have fainted. Come on.
They lie at the head of all the streets.
They lie at the head of all the streets. When it says they lie at the head of all the streets, that means they hanging on all the corners.
Right.
They hang on all the corners of the streets. You know what I'm saying? And we're on.
As a wild bull in the net.
As a wild bull in the net means they on the corners of the streets, wild as hell. And bull, as a wild bull in the nets is the traps of the government, the traps of the society, the criminal law. You know what I'm saying? So you put a mother in the projects, remove the man, she rule over her kids, destroy their path, and then what happens? The son eventually end up hanging on the corners, lawless.
Right.
I ain't afraid of. He's a hooligan, in other words. You know what I'm saying? And the trap is the plan, the theory. The theory. Let's push them all in the project. That's why you see them shooting and killing at each other now, selling drugs on the corner. That's what that's going into. Come on.
They are full of the fury of the Lord.
They are full of the fear of the Lord.
The rebuke of thy God.
All right. So now is that anger, the anger that built up. Now they on the corner. They selling the drugs, and the trap is how they got to that point.
Right.
The trap is he keep on selling the drugs. He keep on hanging on the corner. He thinking he getting further and further, and then eventually bring the sweep.
Right. Damn. Out of there.
Police jump out, send him up the road, or gunshots break out, hit by a bullet, dead. You know what I'm saying? That says, remember one of the biggest things I said. The trap is how he got there. He's selling the drugs, they bring the sweep, and then what happens? He goes up in the prison. Here goes the Israelites. Isaiah 42, verse 22.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
This is a people that is robbed and spoiled. We've been robbed of everything and spoiled. We've been ruined.
Right.
The Skinner box theory, the Willie Lynch theory. First, we were robbed of all our lands.
Right.
Then we were ruined through slavery and the Skinner box theory. What happened next?
They are all of them snare and hoes.
Come on.
And they are head in prison houses.
They are what?
Head in prison houses.
Who's filling up the prison houses?
Damn right. Blacks, Hispanics, Native American.
So they get you. The trap was to get you to the corner, throw you up in the projects, to snare you in holes, Christianity, all that different type of foolishness, and fill the prisons with your asses.
They are for a prey.
We are the prey.
And none deliver. For a spoil, and none says restore.
And none say restore. Don't give them reparations. Don't help them out. Don't move them out the projects. This is us. This is all. The whole rundown to get you to Section 8 was a theory. It was the Skinner box theory. The mind state to have you in the projects, because you got to understand, you had women and men that were together after slavery.
Right.
But we had to break that union up. How would we do that? Give the woman Section 8 of housing.
Right.
And remove that man out the picture. Now this woman is not going to raise civilized male to conduct himself in community. Why? Because she see men every day getting shot down. She see men every day getting thrown up in jail. So she teaches her son to be psychologically, mentally weak, but physically strong. One or two things gonna happen from that. He's gonna be a good servant or a good drug dealer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now he's a drug dealer. Push him to the corner. Let him get them drugs. Let him sell. He see the rewards. I sell this money, take care of my family. Keep on doing it. Once he gets to a certain point, bring the sweep, send him to prison. Or if we don't send the sweep early enough, gunfight, shootout, he ends up dead. You know what I'm saying? Who fills up the prison? You so-called Israelites. Well, I ain't gonna say so-called, you Israelites. And you fill the prisons. So Section 8, that's that thing there. That part is what when you talk about the Willie Lynch or the B.F. Skinner, that was all his theory.